Spirit of God. Thank you, Spirit of God. We are grateful for today, the privilege we have and the opportunities that come to us. All right. We are grateful to God for today and His blessings. It took us quite a while, but we are here. And God bless everyone that is tuning in right now. You can share the pages so we can let someone hear that the apostle is here to teach us, to bless our lives with counseling. The Bible said that, and Solomon had a vision, and in the vision was not a vision with a visitation of an angel. It was God appearing to a man and asking the man, "What would you have me do for you?" And this is God standing with a man. And after the man has received, or he asking that, "I want to have the spirit of discernment and the ability to know the differences between what is before me," the Bible, or what we will call the wisdom, a discerning heart. The Bible said Solomon left the presence of God. He awoke from his sleep and went and gathered unto himself counselors. Gathered unto himself men to teach him. He received the impartation from God, but it was men that was to teach him what God impacted him with. See? So irrespective of the anointing that is upon your head, irrespective of how prayerful you can be, you will need certain men to teach you certain things in life. You may have all the encounter in the world, receive all the vision in the world. You can appear and disappear. But at the end, you will need counsel from men. You will need counsel from men that know. And tonight we are privileged to be here to hear the counsel of the fathers. See, it is always good when you read the account of Rehoboam, the son of Solomon, and you compare Solomon when they were both young. After Solomon received an impartation from God, he gathered to himself the counselors that were counseling his father to also teach him. But Rehoboam, after the men came to him, he went to the counselors, all right, but refused to listen to the counselors that were counseling his father. And the wisest man on earth still had men that counseled him.
Right.
Yeah. So there are some of us who are already married. There are those who are yet to marry. Either way, you will still need the counsel. There are many things that you can avoid 5 years from now, 10 years from now, if you receive the appropriate information today. So thank you for being part of this broadcast, and I believe we are growing in our technological advancement little by little. We will get there.
Amen.
We will get there. God bless everyone. And again, God bless you. We have the Church of Pentecost International, they came here. They came and then we have a spiritual father here, Apostle Joseph Minta. to bless us tonight. Daddy, we have come once again, and our 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 pages are before us to
Amen.
decode and to receive. The strength that was given to the man was not to beat up the women, but to protect the women. We want a continuation of what you began. And please, you are
Okay.
welcome.
Thank you very much. We thank God for another opportunity to share and to look into the word and to understand the concept of relationship from God's perspective. And the last time we met, we started looking at differences between men and women, and we saw that one thing that is very clear and very obvious is that men and women are different, and if you have if you don't understand or accept that fact, it may be that you are not in the world, because the difference is so sharp. It's just like day and night, very different. And I say that it's almost as if we came from different planets. Even though we came from the same God, we express different sides of the same God. And men and women were created to fulfill God's purpose. They coming together was to produce life and power, and they coming together was to provide a platform for God to exercise rulership over the earth, and also to keep the devil at bay. So it's very important that we understand that our differences should not be a source of competition, should not be a source of conflict. It should be uh, complementary. And if it can be complementary, then we have to possess certain kind of understanding and know that yes, we are different, but we are also from the same source. As a matter of fact, we are different at the same time we are very similar. When you consider the spirit man, there's no difference between that of a man and a woman. When you consider the structure of the brain and the capacity of the brain, there's no difference between that of a man and a woman. The only difference is in the soul, and then the structure of the body. So our personality and our bodies, they are different. And they are different because of the function that we are supposed to play and carry out. And it's all of God's making. And so we need to understand, many people have tried unsuccessfully to understand the opposite sex. Solomon tried, he came out with a lot of theories and a lot of suggestions, if you like. And his main focus was trying to understand that kind of relationship. It was so awesome to him, and he spent some of his time trying to unravel the mystery between a man and a woman. In Proverbs 30, verse 6, he said he was talking about certain things that are too wonderful for him. And then he mentioned a man, a man and a woman. He said that the way of a man with a woman. He said, Proverbs 30, verse 18, he said, there are three things which are too wonderful for me. Yes, four which I do not understand. The way of an eagle in the air, the way of a serpent on a rock, the way of a ship in the midst of the sea, and the way of a man with a woman. He said that is too wonderful for him to look at. The late Kenneth Hagin told a story. As a matter of fact, he told this story on his deathbed. Somebody who was very close to him said it after his passing. He said he told him a story. It was more like a joke. And he said that a certain man went to God, and then God asked him to give his request, and then he said he had two requests. The first request, he said that, well, the first request that looked kind of hard or difficult, from the man's perspective. So he said he was not expecting too much from God, uh, as far as the first request was concerned. But the second request, then the first request was that he said he wanted God to construct a rail line from US to Africa, and he said that it was going to be kind of difficult, so he didn't want to bother go with that. But he wanted God to focus on the second request. And so God asked him what the second request was, and he said, to understand women. Women. I want to understand women. And then he said that God said, okay, the rail lines, how many lanes do you want? Do you want 6 lanes or 10 lanes? So in other words, it's like he said, forget it. This one you can't understand. Let's focus on the first one that you thought was difficult. I mean, that is to say that that is to say that when we try to understand the opposite sex, we are not going to be successful in coming to a perfect understanding. Um, we just have to accept that we are different, and then also the difference between us is natural. It's natural and it's good. It's good. We don't have to look at men as, oh, men are like this and so it is bad. Women are like this and so it is bad. No, they are like this because that's how God made them to be. And men are like this because that's how God made them to be. For instance, there are some people who usually equate expression of emotions to weakness, and so people sometimes tend to make statements that will look down on a woman as if they are too emotional, they are too sentimental and stuff like that. But that is incorrect, because that is their makeup. That is their makeup, and we have to come to an understanding. Not until we understand that these things are natural and there's nothing we can do about them, we are going to have a problem. We are never going to understand them. They are never going to understand us. You see, when a man and a woman come together to make a home, it's like a bird and a fish falling in love. A bird falling in love with a fish. What is going to be their home? Where are they going to make their home? That is exactly what it is when a man and a woman come together. And so we don't have to attempt to change the other person into our own way of doing things. We have to know that this is a woman and this is how she was made. This is a man and this is how he was made. Men differently in all respects. In all respects, the way a man will do things will be different from the way a woman will do things. It could be the same thing, but the approaches will be different based on their unique personalities. So the first point is how to handle the differences. The first point is leave the differences as they are. Don't attempt to change. Leave it. You can't embark on a makeover. You can't win the other over to your side. You know. So let me give one basic difference between men and women. One basic, and I think I touched on that last week. One basic difference between us. One major difference is that women are relationship oriented, men are task oriented. Men are more task oriented than people oriented or relationship oriented. So women tend to be more people centered than men. All things being equal, the typical man is more interested in accomplishment of task. The typical woman is more interested in building relationships, having bonds, bonding with other people. That is one major difference between men and women. So for a man, accomplishing the task is his goal, and a man wants to be left alone to accomplish a task. When we accomplish things, we take the score and then we pat ourselves on the back. And that is what gives the man a sense of satisfaction and a sense of significance. Now, what gives the woman a sense of significance is when her relationships are intact, when her husband loves her, when her children, the relationship between her and her children are going on well. In summary, when her relationships are good, that's what gives her a sense of significance and satisfaction. So therefore, a man may see success as accomplishment, success as acquiring objects, completing tasks and all that. But a woman will see success as her relationship. Now, many a time you will see that even in our culture, you see that when they're advising men, boys, and girls, the advice they'll give to the boys that focus, go to school, make sure you go to school and stay away from bad friends and all that, have a vision, do that. And then for the woman, they will tell her that make sure that you do things right, and then you will get a good husband. You get a good husband. And when girls are growing, their fantasies is about family. Their fantasies is about my husband, my children. It's the dream of every woman because they are relationship oriented, all things being equal. I know there are some few exceptions, but generally speaking, women are more relationship oriented. Uh, Men are more task oriented. Okay. Then another thing that we must also recognize, and also apart from accepting that we are different, is this. Now, do not assume that what you need is what a man needs. Because we were wired differently, our needs are different. Our needs are different. Therefore, do not think that she needs what you need, or he needs what you need. That's why the solution that God provided in scripture is that the man should give the woman what she needs, not what the man needs. And the woman should give the man what he needs, not what the woman needs. And so God did that so that each will provide the other's need. Because in a marriage, for instance, the man has his needs, the woman has her needs. Now, if you look at what God did in Ephesians 5, from verse 25, verse 22 coming, he said, uh, wives should submit to their husbands, husbands should love their wives. Now, the reason why God made it so is that wives, they need the love of their husbands to be satisfied. That is what they need, to be satisfied. Husbands need the submission of their wives to be satisfied and whole. That's what they need. And therefore, uh, the woman needs love, not that she wants it, not that she has to ask for it. She needs it. It's her food or fuel that will make her thrive as a woman. She needs it. So therefore, if the man fails to give love to the woman, the man is depriving the woman of essential needs, something that she needs, something that she needs to thrive as a woman. That is why always, when the love from the man is not forthcoming, the woman turns into another image. I said at that time that there's an Eve in every woman, there's an Adam in every man. There's an Eve after the fall in every woman. There's an Adam after the fall in every man. Now, when a woman does not receive love, she turns into a different image. The only thing that can give her fuel, that can give her food for her to thrive, flourish, is love. Is love. Now, many of the women who cause problems in this world, majority of them who create mayhem in the world, who destroy generations, who become stumbling blocks, who cause a lot of havoc in the world, The main reason is they are love deficient. They are love deficient. That's why a greater percentage of women's problems spring out of love deficiency. Love deficiency. When there's not much love to fuel them, they they become deficient in love, and they turn into another image. Another image. Therefore, if you want to keep your woman tender and fresh, you must know that it is wisdom to love the woman. It is wisdom. It's not about emotions. It's about understanding. You know, the Bible says husbands should dwell with their wives in understanding, understanding, giving honor unto the wife as a weaker vessel, giving honor unto the wife as a weaker vessel. It is only revelation or understanding that will let you know the place of love in a woman's life, that a woman needs love. And I'm going to explain what I mean by love, but she needs love to thrive and flourish as a woman. When she's love deficient, when she's love deficient, she's going to turn into another image, and it's not going to help you, the man. So wisdom will let you know that give the woman what she wants. Now, when I talk about love, I'm talking about the kind of love that the Bible talks about in Ephesians chapter 5. You know, Ephesians 5 verse 25, how Jesus loved the church. You know, Ephesians 5 verse 25, it says, um, husbands, love your wives, just as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for her. So we're going to look at how Christ loved the church. It says we should love our wives just as Christ loved the church and then gave himself for her. Now, one thing we have to understand is that women interpret love, and rightly so, because the Bible even says that's how Jesus loved the church. They interpret love differently, and that there's nothing that can be compared to yourself, giving yourself. So Christ gave himself to the church. So many a time you will see the man trying to do many things for the woman, you know, trying to buy her things, trying to uh, do many projects for her and all that. But the woman is still not satisfied because he has not given himself to her. Women want to know that you gave yourself, not your money, not your words primarily, but yourself, your person, you know. And so that means that they define love also by physical presence. Physical presence, you know, what you do when you are physically present. That's why sometimes you may even wonder and then even ask yourself, so do they really want us to work? Because when you spend too much time at work and they don't have you, it's a problem. So you say, so do you want me to stop work and come and stay by you all day, all day? You know, that's a question many men ask because they don't seem to understand this aspect of a woman's personality. They want you, you. Nothing replaces you. They want you to be at home. They want you to be around. They want you to be available, immediately accessible, you know. And so sometimes it becomes a problem. But you know, because of the nature of life and then living it, you will not have 100%, you know, a woman will not have you 100%. So therefore, she thinks about quality moments, memorable, you know, moments that you are with her that create memories in her mind, you know, and nothing replaces you. You know, he said he gave himself for the church, he gave himself for her, that he might sanctify and cleanse her with the washing of the water by the word. Now, why didn't Jesus use power to sanctify her? He used words, the word. The way he washed her, the way he sanctified her, cleansed her, is by the washing of the water by the word. Now, this is the Bible telling us right here that women thrive on words, and they define love based on words. You know, the church is a woman in this context, and it said Jesus sanctified the church with his word, with his word. So when you are talking about you loving a woman, loving your wife, apart from your physical presence that is needed, they also feed on the right kind of words, words that connote love, words that connote specialty, words that will make them feel special. That's why you see the devil knew this principle. That's why when he went to Eve, all that he gave her was words, words. And the devil is a wordsmith, wordsmith. He was able to, we have blacksmith, we have goldsmith, but he is a wordsmith. He's able to couch the right words to get her innermost feelings, get to her emotions. So he was able to paint a picture with his words gradually. So for a man to love a woman to feel love, the man must be careful of the words he uses. Words are weighty, very weighty when it comes to dealing with women. Words, very, very weighty. Now, many people sometimes say that women are easily deceived. Now, the reason is that they feed on words, and they are supposed to be nourished by words, loving words, pleasant words, words that will make them special. That is why some people who are unscrupulous, what they do is that they heap flattery upon women, and even though they are not sincere, they still get them to follow them because words are words. Flattery is it's insincere praise, but the woman is not looking at the truthfulness of what you are saying. She's looking at the weight of your words, what is backing your words. And so sometimes some men use words to deceive women, and it's not their fault, that's their makeup. Women, whether they are girls or old women, they always want to be complimented. That's one way to show love. Believe you me, if you're a man, let it be in your head that showing love is not it's not necessarily buying her things. I want you to understand that the way they define love is related to their makeup. So men who can give compliments, nice words, complimenting them, making a comment about their good looks and about the good things that you see in them is also a definition of words and of love for a woman. That's what the Bible says, that it said Christ loved the church. He loved the church and he gave himself for her, that he might sanctify and cleanse her with the washing of water by the word, that he might present her to himself. Present her to himself. One thing that women also see as love is companionship. Companionship. Present her to himself, bringing her closer. Bringing her closer. Women enjoy you going out with them. They enjoy you being with them. They enjoy you wanting them to be part of what you are doing. They enjoy that. Jesus presented the church with himself. You know something? Jesus made the church sit right where he was seated. In Ephesians chapter 2, he said, he has made us to sit together with him in heavenly places. That is also one way women see love. When they are made to sit where you are seated, when they are brought on board, when you treat them with that kind of honor, you get a space in their heart. Women, it said, so also husbands ought to love their wives as their own bodies. As their own bodies. So husbands should love their wives as their own bodies. That is talking about empathy, empathy, fellow feeling, you know, putting yourself in her shoes, putting yourself in her shoes, and then knowing what will not help you will not help your partner. What you don't like, as in what will make you sad will equally make her sad. See, so in a relationship, in a marriage, the man must love the woman, give the woman what she needs. And he uses two words. He said, 29, for no one ever hated his own flesh, but nourishes and cherishes it. And these two words, they summarize everything I've said. Nourish, cherish. And you can combine these two words as special. Peter said, treat them as the weaker vessel. And the word weaker, or the phrase weaker vessel, is referring to how special they are, how fragile, and how they should be treated with care. One careless remark can break a woman down. One careless remark, one unkind word can break a woman down for a long time. There are many men who are reaping unkind words they release to their wives many years later, and they don't know that they are reaping from those words. You treat the woman anyhow, you speak harshly to her. It's a seed you are sowing. And those say that they keep records of wrongs. It appears, it will appear as that, but that is how their nature is, because they thrive on words. So when your words hurt them, they grow. It will multiply back to you, and you're going to reap a harvest. Whatever you sow, you reap. So cherish and nourish. Cherish and nourish. That is how you give to the woman what she wants. What she wants. Give to the woman what she wants by nourishing her with the right words, cherishing her, cherishing her, treating her as somebody who deserves respect, somebody who deserves your time, somebody who deserves your body, your physical presence. A woman always asks certain questions. She's always gauging your love for her by asking certain questions. She may not ask them openly or overtly, but she's asking them in the course of the relationship. She's asking, do you like me? Are you proud of me? She's asking, do you like, when you get married and you marry and you are a man, you must never forget that your wife is constantly asking you whether you are still proud of her body. Never forget about that. She may not ask you, from her mouth, but it's a question that she's asking in her mind. You still like my body? That's why women get hurt when you say unpleasant things about their body, the way they look. Even sometimes when they are out of shape, the way you convey it to them can either make or break them. Because that's the question they are constantly asking. Do I still look beautiful to you? Am I still attractive to you? Um, after giving birth, after this, after that, do you still see my body as attractive? They're always asking those questions. Women are always asking those questions. Am I still needed in your life? Do you need me? Do you need me in your life? Do you cherish me? Am I still the most important person in your life? And this question is a question that they are always asking. Am I important in your life? Am I the main person in your life? Am I the main person in your life? I mean, the woman wants to be the main person. See, women were created to be the object of love to be the recipients of love. And from the way God created them, and if you look at the order of creation, they received a heavy or the highest dose of love. God poured out his love to Adam, and Adam will pour out God's love that he poured in him, plus his own love to Eve. And therefore, the dose of love a woman needs to be a woman is very heavy. It's very heavy. That's why right from the time they are young, the father, they need to have a certain measure of love doses from the father to make them confident and grow as full women. Then that's not enough. When the father hands them over to the husband must also top it up. And it's almost as if they will never be satisfied with the dose of love. Not that, but because their capacity for absorbing love is so big. It's so big because look at God's love being poured into Adam, and then Adam pouring out God's love and his own love into the woman. Then you must understand that their capacity for love is very big. Therefore, the man must understand and put it in his mind. Don't try to change the woman. Just give the woman what she wants. Give her the attention, give her your physical presence, give her the time, give her the words, give her the affection, give her the sense of specialty. That's why, when your wife calls you, I saw something on WhatsApp, and it was listing the number of calls that somebody had missed, and he had missed several calls from his boss, and he didn't mind to return. Missed several calls from his friends, but he just missed one call from his wife, and then he returned. He returned the call for obvious.
To avoid wahala.
Yeah, because she's always asking one question: am I the main person in your life? Even sometimes when the children come in, women can compete with their children for attention. It's funny, but it's true. They can compete with their children for your affection if they see that your focus is on the children more than them. They can compete with them. So that is what the man should do for the woman. Now let's talk about what the woman should do for the man. And this is also one thing that women should listen carefully. The Bible did not say that husband should submit to their wives and wives should love their husband. It's the other way around. It says, wives submit to your husband, husbands love your wives. Now, and he said, just as the church submits to Christ. Now, so husband, he said, verse 22, wives, submit to your own husbands as to the Lord. For the husband is the head of the wife, as also Christ is the head of the church, and he is the savior of the body. What he's trying to say is that the husband is the savior of your body, and he is also your head. Not every man is your head, is your husband. In other words, the one you decided to abandon yourself into. That's what it means by submitting. See, submitting is like Eve being taken out of Adam and then Eve going back into Adam. That's submission. Eve going back into Adam so that they will be one flesh. Not Adam going into Eve, but Eve going into Adam. Many a time, what we see is we see Adam, the man, and we see the woman sticking out of the man. That is not a picture of submission. God took the rib from Adam. Now, submission is that the rib goes back to its place, and then it's one body. That's submission. It means that when you decide to follow a man, you have decided to abandon yourself into that man. You have decided to submit your vision into his vision. You have decided to find space within his vision for your vision to operate. Now, this is contrary to many of the things that we've been hearing. And as a matter of fact, this is contrary to many of the opinions, many of the theories that are going around these days, especially in this age of feminism and all that. I'm not talking about that, but I'm talking from the Bible's perspective. See that is why the Bible says the two shall be one flesh. The two shall be one flesh. It means that because if the two shall be one, it simply means that the one that was taken from the other will go back into the other and there'll be one. Eve was taken from Adam, so Eve will go back into Adam and then there'll be one. Now, the way you submit to your husband as a woman, I'm going to give you certain ways that men also interpret love. A man will be fond of any woman that submits to him. I'm not talking about his wife. Any woman that knows how to submit to a man will attract his attention. That's why wives should be particular about submitting to their own husband. Because any woman who knows how to submit to a man will know how to win a man's heart. That is true. Because men are attracted to women who know how to submit. Now, the first thing I'll talk about submission is be willing to let him lead. Be willing to let him lead. If you are not willing to let him lead, you are not submissive. If you are not willing to let him lead. See, the picture in the Garden of Eden is the leader is the man, Adam. Eve was supposed to follow Adam. And that is how she also played her leadership role, by following Adam. So if you are not prepared to let him lead, it is not submission. Submission is when you are prepared to let him take the lead, let him lead you. In other words, you do not usurp the authority of the man. You do not usurp his authority. Let him be the one who is leading, the one who is taking responsibility for the direction, for the vision. Let him be the one who brings, the one who brings the direction. Don't attempt to lead. That's what Paul was saying in 1 Timothy. He said, let not the woman teach a man. What he was trying to say is not like teaching in the Bible, I mean, in a church. What he was trying to say is that do not become the teacher, do not become the leader. Because the man was created to be the teacher. It was Adam that God gave the laws to. Eve came to meet the law. And it was Adam who taught Eve that God says we should not eat of this tree. And so if women can understand this, and they will be willing to allow their men to lead, the men will never have problems loving women. You see, for instance, if the woman is richer than the man, and in this world, in today's world, women can be richer than men. So many years ago, it didn't used to be so, because the men were the only ones working, but now it's not like that. Women and men both work. So when a woman's status is higher than the man's status in terms of finances, in terms of economic status, in terms of status in society, social status, even in terms of status in in society and all that. The challenge of the woman, the challenge the woman will face will be the ability to allow the man to lead. Because in this world, the one who has the money automatically becomes the leader. In a family, you may be the last born of the family, but if you are the one who has money, you are the one who determines when a funeral should be held. That's how it is. Even when you are outside, they will wait for you to come before the funeral because you are the one who is providing the funds. So when a woman is higher than a man financially, that is when the real test of submission comes in. That is when you have more money than your husband and you can still let him lead. That means that you are truly submissive. That means that you are truly, because a woman can easily, and it's easy for a woman to try to take over the man's position. Very easy, very simple. As a matter of fact, it is one of the fallouts of the fall of mankind. When Adam and Eve sinned, one thing that God told the woman is that He said, "Your desire shall be for your husband, and he shall rule over you." What I was trying to say is that you will desire your husband's throne, but he will subdue you and he will rule over you. It was talking about men and women in their fallen state. The woman in her fallen state will always desire to serve. That's why the spirit of Jezebel is a kind of spirit. That spirit is not a female spirit necessarily, but it is named after Jezebel, the queen, because that spirit targets the throne. That spirit always wants to usurp the throne. It doesn't want to be the one on the throne, but it wants to be the voice of the one on the throne. That's the spirit of Jezebel. Both men and women can operate with the spirit of Jezebel, but it's called Jezebel because it's a spirit that was used by the queen Jezebel. And you know how Jezebel was controlling everything. Ahab was a leader, but Ahab was a weak leader, and Jezebel was the one who was issuing the decrees, who was writing letters in Ahab's name, who was taking the decisions. Ahab said, "Naboth, give me your vineyard." Naboth said, "No." Ahab went home. He was so down, so discouraged. Jezebel said, "Get up, I'll get it for you." Now, that is a woman that is not submissive. Because if you are submissive, when your husband has not initiated, you don't have to usurp his authority and then act. There's a proverb in Akan which says that the hen also recognizes when it is day, but it is the cock that crows. The hen, when the day breaks, the hen also sees it, but it's not in her place to crow. It's in the place of the cock to crow. So she leaves it to the cock. Now, I'm not preaching subservience or subjugation. No, far from it. I'm just saying what the Bible says. That's how a woman submits to the husband. Allow him to lead. Allow him to lead. Allow him to lead. There's a story I heard from the late Kenneth Hagin about a man who was a drunkard and he was an unbeliever. And his wife was in Kenneth Hagin's church. And one day the woman came to church against the orders of her husband. And so the husband came back to the church. Followed her to the church. And when he came, he was drunk. And then he confronted Kenneth Hagin, who was a pastor, and said that my wife, ignored my orders not to come to church, and I wanted to stay at home, and she just, came to church, and I'm angry. And Kenneth Hagin called the woman, and the woman was expecting him to side with her and condemn the man and tell the man that, you are in error and she's serving God and you dare not stop her from serving God. But Kenneth Hagin told the woman that no, never set foot here when your husband says don't come, stay at home. If he says do not come, don't come. And he apologized to the man and said, "I'm really sorry. I don't mean to, disturb the order in your house. I'm sorry. I really go to talk to her and all that." Sadly, the man became born again. The man became born again. The man said he had never met a pastor like that. And so he came back to the church, and that's how he became a part of the church. Because he was given his place. his place of leadership, it was given back to him. Though he was a drunkard, the impression was created as if he was still in charge. And that's one trick. Let him feel in charge. Let him feel in charge. You may be the one providing for the household. You may be the one, providing, making provision for the house and all that. Let him still feel in charge. Sometimes your husband may not be the one paying the school fees. You may be the one, but you must let the children go to him, give the money to him, let the children go to him, and let them see him as the one who is paying their school fees. Let them see him as the leader of the home. Never talk less of your husband in front of your children, no matter what. Let him be the king of the house. Let him be your warrior. Let him be your superman. Let the children look up to him as the one who brings solution to the house. When you do that, you are showing submission to the man. Another way we show submission as a woman to a man is, and this word I'm going to use, pardon me, I don't intend to use it out of sarcasm or disdain, or I want to see what the Bible says, is to recognize him as your Lord. I know it's going to be very difficult for some people to accept it because of the culture, because of our culture, because our culture, you don't call nobody Lord, it's everybody's a free man. everybody's a free person, free person. You said all men were created equal. We hold this truth to be self-evident that all men were created equal. But look at
that is the preamble.
Yes, the preamble
of the Constitution.
Yes. Is it look at 1 Peter chapter 3 and look at verse 5. Peter talking about the woman. For in this manner, in the former times, the holy women who trusted in God also adorned themselves, being submissive to their own husbands. And then he's going to give a picture. As Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord, whose daughters you are, if you do good and are not afraid with any terror. It said Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord. Now, the emphasis is not on calling him Lord. That's not the emphasis. That's not what he's saying, that you should call your husband Lord. But what he's saying is talking about showing, having a sense that he's your superior. Now, again, it's not about saying Lord, because even Jesus said in Luke 6:46, he said, why do you call me Lord, Lord, and do not do the things which I say? So the essence of saying somebody is Lord is obedience. It's doing the things which he says. Now, believe you me, if you are a woman, a wife, and you are able to obey your husband, you will never fail to get his love. You will never fail to get the man's attention. When you are, and that's submission. You see, submission is not like you are going to like everything. The church doesn't like everything Jesus commands us to do, but we obey. Why? Because we are submitted to him as Lord. Your Lord is somebody whose voice you obey. I mean, your husband's voice should be a voice that settles your controversies, a voice that brings to an end your indecisions. If your husband asks his voice and he says, stop this, stop it, stop it. If you see, I'm not saying the woman should be a subject and the man should be the Lord. No, the man should be the leader. The woman should follow the man. But then the man's leadership is one of love, not subjugation. But it is love. The woman should obey the man. That's how you show submission and respect. That's how Sarah obeyed Abraham. And one thing that really bothered me when I read this scripture about Sarah obeying Abraham, and one incident came to mind where the king, Abraham told Sarah that these people are wicked people, and if they ask you, tell them that I am your brother. And indeed, he was her brother, but he was a half brother from a father's side, not a mother's side. And so Sarah did that as Abraham said. Now imagine, then the king actually came for Sarah. The king came for Sarah, and the king took her to his house. Can you believe that? And she was acting upon the instructions of Abraham. Abraham said, "You go," and she went. And the king would have touched her, would have slept with her, had it not been for God who withheld the king from touching her. But look at I'm talking about the extent to which she was willing to go on the orders of her husband. That is submission. That's why it's not, marriage is not just responding to any proposal. If you know you can't submit to the man, you can't respect him, you don't have to accept the proposal. You are going to create a mess for yourself. If you are not proud of his leadership, and you don't think you can take his advice, you don't think you can take his instructions, you can take his directives, don't marry him. Don't marry him. Otherwise, it will not be one flesh. It will be one flesh sticking out of the other. You can't really go into him for it to become one. So therefore, when you are a woman and you are looking for somebody to marry, you must look for somebody who can lead you, who can father you, who can father you. When I talk about father you, I'm not talking about somebody who's old enough to be your father. I'm talking I'm talking in spiritual terms, somebody
Right.
you can look up to as a father. Because when you leave your earthly father, the next father you have is your husband. And so women actually are looking for fatherhood in men. They're not looking for. I remember I listened to Dr. Miles Moreau some years ago, and then he was talking about the fact that a woman is not looking for a lover or a friend, she's looking for a father. And it kind of baffled me, but later on I understood it. Because she will leave her father, and then she will come under a different father. The Bible never said that the woman will leave her father and mother. It said the man will leave, because the man must be a father. The woman leaves a father, and immediately she leaves one father, she goes to another father. So that's why during weddings, the father of the bride, will often walk her down the aisle and then hand her over to her husband. It's very significant. It means that my fatherhood responsibility ends here, and you take over.
Right.
You take over.
Now.
You are in charge now. You are in charge now. So ideally, every husband should consult the father-in-law and ask him, how are you doing it?
How are you doing
Yes,
it?
you must ask your father-in-law how he was treating the daughter. See, many people are frustrated because the way their fathers treated them, their husbands are not doing the same. Like that, I'm talking about the way their fathers treated them positively. In a good way, giving them attention, being interested in their welfare, always being their support, cheering them on, encouraging them when they are discouraged. Sometimes, like sometimes, my daughters will come to me, and sometimes they are discouraged, and the way I will encourage them, I will, give them pep talks and all that. Sometimes they have problems with their schoolwork, and they are crying. Advise them, create an environment. By the time I finish, they are laughing and they are okay. Now imagine she grows up, um, getting to understand that that is how a man treats a woman, and then she marries a man who doesn't listen to her. Your concerns are not my concern. I mean, whatever you are going through, I don't care. I have my stuff to do with you. You do with your stuff. She's going to be frustrated. That's what I'm saying. Every husband should consult the father-in-law, find out how she raised her daughter, and then continue from there. Otherwise,
Wow.
otherwise it's going to be a problem. Yes. So the woman is looking up to the man for fatherhood. For fatherhood. Sometimes women can come to you and start, spilling out. I mean, just spilling out their frustrations and all that. They just want an anchor in the midst of their storms. They want a strong hand that can stabilize them, that can let them know that it's okay. I'm with you. I'm here for you. You are covered. You are covered. It's okay. And sometimes the response they will get is like, you are complaining too much. You are just talking too much. You are disturbing my ears. I don't have time. I'm hard pressed for time. I this that. But if you know that the person doesn't have time for you. There was a lady who was asking me a question. She was torn between two men, and one of them was a very he was more like deep into the Lord, like into Christian stuff, activities and all that. The other was also a Christian, but he was not, let me say, if you like, he was not into ministry and all that. But she said that she wanted to find out their reaction. So one day she just told both of them that she was sick. and because they are not in the same place, she was just wanted to test how they will react. The one who is, let's say, deep into the things of God, into ministry and all that, he called her, and then she called him and told him that she was sick. And the man said, oh, this that, okay, then that was all. Then she told the other person that she was sick. And by the close of day, this one who was deep into the activities of God and all that had not checked on her to find out what happened.
Praying
But
from
this
afar.
Yes, but this other one was checking on her from time to time. So what is going on now? Are you okay? How are you feeling now? And she was telling me that this one looks more like on fire and on all that, but she's getting attracted to this one. The simple fact was that she was thinking about the future, that this one will not have time for me, but this one will have time for me. This one will not be interested in the things that pertain to my life, but this one will be. If you look at what he's doing now, it means that when I marry him, is going to be like that. So you see that right from the word go, the woman is looking for a father figure, a father figure. She's looking for somebody, so look for a father figure. Then let me also touch on this one, the submission, how the woman also to the man. Um, you show your submission to a man by admiration, admiring the man. Any man who receives admiration from a woman is motivated to do more for the woman. See, back in the days when we were in school, most of the time, most of the athletes who were very, very, in this one of these very strong, very, very tight, very competitive games were men, were guys, and most of the people who cheered them on were the ladies. When we have something we call um, the song of the woman. We see that in First Samuel when the woman was saying, Saul has killed 1,000, David tens of thousands. Now, the admiration of a woman, of the woman's admiration for a man is almost magical. Almost magical. Men will do more than their strength will allow them when they realize that women admire them and admire their strength. That's why sometimes in jokes you will see a lady passing by and the guy trying to impress the lady, carrying a weight that he can't even carry. But the woman is giving him fans to cheer him up and all that. Now, if women can learn this little trick, I'm telling you, your husband will stay with you. He will love you. If you can learn these three things, letting him lead, obeying his directives, and then admire his qualities. Admire his qualities. Let him know. You must intentionally be weak and vulnerable in the sight of your husband. Let him know that he is holding you. He's stronger. Let him know that you admire his strength, that you are secured in his strength, in his leadership abilities. If you have these keys, you can get the man to do anything for you. It's not when you see men who are crazy about their wives, it's not magic, it's not luck, it's not even favor. It's not a gift from God. A good marriage, a man who is crazy about his wife, it's not a gift from God. It's not like, oh, it's a gift, so if you have it, you have it. No, these are keys that the woman can use to get the man. Look at how Delilah, people sometimes think that Samson was a fool. He was not a fool. He was just a man. Just a man responding to these keys a woman was using. Look at even after pestering him and all that, look at how she was able to let him sleep like a little boy on her laps. And you know the words she used and all that. She was admiring his strength. You are different from all other men. I want to know your secret. You are different. So much as women thrive on words, men also thrive on admiration. So give the woman what she wants and give the man what he wants, and there will be peace. That's the prescription the Bible has given. When you focus on the other, there will be peace. Don't focus on yourself. Focus on the other partner. Make sure he or she is okay. Then you will also be okay. Amen. So that's where we end today. We'll continue next week.
I'm still writing.
Yeah.
They can talk, I'm writing.
Wow. Daddy, God bless you so much. This is so insightful. It is so fresh. I mean, most of these things, it's kind of very interesting how sometimes you might know certain of these things, but then when the going gets, it's so easy to forget them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
It's like this is. I was like, yeah, this is so much. This is so rich. But like, man, when the business of marriage gets in there, it's so easy to forget and how to like get down to it and really put it together. But I really love the aspect when you talked on the Ephesians 5:25, how Jesus used words in the aspect of washing. I've looked at that scripture like 1,000 times. I have not connected that part to it, how the aspect of the need for words is so important. And it's beautiful. Papa was saying something earlier as you made mention that the strength of the man is to protect the woman, not to abuse her. And it's so amazing. We only think in the aspect of just the physical strength, but we forget the words also that come out of our mouth are so strong that can also break her down. As much as the physical can do to her body physically, the words is as to her soul also the same way. And sometimes, you know, it's so beautiful the way you put it, has to the weaker vessel. When you make mention of that, how delicate they are, how precious they are, and just something so small at the slight of it can break them. You know, it's amazing. A woman can kind of insult the man so many times, but one word from a man, it will just
break the woman. Yes.
Just tear her all the way apart. It's so amazing how words really does a lot to them, and the need for the to be physically there, and not just only to be physically there, but the reason why they want you to be physically there is what you give them, which is the words. That is, I hope you kind of expand a little bit on that, because there are so many men that are there but are not there. So, as far as you say you want me to be there, you know. Yeah, I'm here with you, but it seems like the woman is still complaining.
That's a serious complaint.
It's like you want me to be there, but I'm here. You know, so if you can throw a little bit more light on that, some of the words and some of the things that it's not enough just to be there, but what is it really that they are looking for when you are there?
When you are there, they want to see from your words that you are interested in their lives, what they are talking about, that you're able to sustain a conversation, you're able to sustain communication. No, you can just be there physically present, but you are minding your own business. Nothing about her, not involved in what she's doing. But when you show empathy, when you empathize with her through your words, by showing that you are listening, by asking relevant questions, that will prompt her to talk more about herself and about issues. See, when you do that, it makes her feel like you are connected, and you are not just present, but you are connected. You are part of her day, what she's doing, what she's going through. Sometimes good opportunity for her to talk more. So just maybe one question or one statement, and then it will open another flood that will let her pour out her frustration, talk more and more and more and more, and then never interject and provide solution. Let her talk, show empathy before solution. Show her that you feel for her, and then you understand what she's going through. Then later on, you can prescribe your solution. Never let it appear as if her fears are unfounded, or her fears are infantile. They are not. They show immaturity. Many times, some people will trivialize their fears, the fears of a woman, and think that, oh, this one, what is it that you should be afraid of, or what is it that, that is very hurting, very hurting. It's like when your child tells you that she's afraid of a spider, or the shadow, and then you trivialize the whole thing, and you are shouting at her that, what is there to be afraid of? This is just a spider. You need to count to the level of the child and understand, see from his or her perspective that a spider is a scary thing, you know. Before you can find solutions, sometimes they will tell you that you will tell your child, go pick something from the bedroom, and then she will say, I'm afraid. Many times what I will do is that I will get up and go with them, accompany them to go and pick it. You know, anytime they will say, I'm afraid, I will just get up and go there. Now, if you can transfer the same thing to the wife, you will not trivialize her expressions and her anxieties. Some of the things that she will be talking about may be things that may appear um, totally unnecessary to you. And there may be things that you may think that she's not worried about it. Maybe she can be talking about how she looks, how her hair looks, and all that. And sometimes you are like, we are thinking about major stuff, and you are focusing on these mundane things. That could be very hurting. So you have to let her know that what she's experiencing is valid, and that is good. Side with her. Then also by the words, you know, by being a good conversationalist, somebody who can really converse. You know, there are some people, and conversation is an art we can learn. We can learn. You can either ask closed questions or open questions. And when you ask open questions, you sustain conversation. When you ask closed questions, you close conversation. I remember when my first child was, and all of them, when they were young, they would come back from school, and I will ask them open questions. If you ask them, um, did this guy come to school or did this girl come to school, she will answer yes or no. But if you ask them, who didn't come to school today, that's an open question. That sets her thinking who and who, why did they not come to school, and then that generates a conversation. In the same way, when you are with a woman, you must be able to ask her relevant questions that will prompt her to talk. You know, women talk more than men. You know, so your duty is to be the anchor of the show. You know, you are the host. So you ask her questions. You know, get her talking. Then you show interest. One thing is that most men don't listen. In fact, it's an issue because sometimes sometimes we think hearing is listening, but it's not. Hearing is not listening. See, listening is when you are trying to understand the person. So what the person is saying, you are trying to understand. Sometimes you ask questions to understand. But hearing is you are waiting for the person to finish speaking so that you also say yours. That is hearing. So you will miss what the person is saying. But when you are hearing to understand, you don't miss it. So these are some of the things. And apart from that, too, the nice words, the nice words that we use, compliments. Compliments, compliments are almost magical. Compliments, compliments. You, as a man, you must be you must be um, you must be able to detect the slightest change in your wife's appearance. I mean, good change. You not be able to detect it and comment on it. Make sure you really comment on any nice thing you see on her. You know, when she puts on anything, you must be able to know what that this one is new. I've not seen this one before. This one is new. This necklace is new. This hairstyle is new. There are some men, their wives can change their hairstyle like 3 times in a month, and they will not take notice. They don't know. They don't know that she has changed her hairstyle. They are still in the Old Testament. She's in the New Testament. You are in the Old Testament. And then, appropriate touch and all that. So uh, basically, that's what I can say.
Okay. Daddy, there's a question on the platform that has been asked. How can you know that at this time she doesn't need any solution, but needs empathy and affection?
Yeah. As a rule, let empathy come first before solution. You know, for instance, when she's talking about when she's asking for solution, she needs solution. when she's asking you, what should I do? She needs an answer, solution. But when she's telling you what she has gone through, like how her day has been, how she's down, that's not the time to say, why didn't you do this or that? Oh, this one, just a matter of doing ABC. That's a typical man for you. But there and then she's just looking for
typical villager. A typical villager.
then she's looking for somebody to pour her frustrations or for you to also, carry sound for her. If there's any solution, it comes after you have shown empathy, not before. Yeah. So as a rule, when she has not asked for solution, as a rule, give empathy first. Then later you can give solution.
Awesome. Wow. And I have a last question, because this one is very dear. When you talk about consult their father-in-law for advice. Jesus. Wow. It's a serious
How are
matter.
you doing it? How are you doing it?
I think this is big because for most men, I don't think we tend to have a good relationship with the father-in-law. Which is very, very detrimental because there are so many things that you will go through with your wife or with your spouse in the house. And if you are not going to be the person who's going to really ask questions and really listen, there are certain behaviors and certain attitudes will be going on. And at times, it may even be geared towards you.
Yeah.
And you have no idea where this is coming from or what has happened.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's really good when they had a really good upbringing. But then they could also have a father who didn't play a father role.
Yes.
Could be the abusive side, and you have inherited that as well.
Yeah.
So how if you can throw a little bit more light as to how a person will kind of go around that on either side, if sometimes you may have a father figure that is not really that kind of approachable. Maybe you may marry to somebody whose daughter was an army commander, that kind of figure like that. How is it important to kind of go around that, to be able to start that kind of conversation, to kind of give some things as to what happened in the upbringing and some of these things to even go about it, so you can understand the situation a little bit more better.
Okay. Yeah. I think the other side, I focus more on the positive side, like what the father has done positively to the daughter over the years, so that you can continue from there.
Yeah.
But you can also pick up the negative side from the relationship between your partner before even you get married and her father.
Yeah.
You will see from conversation that maybe she's rebelling against her father, or she's not on very good terms with the father, because generally speaking, all things being equal, girls are more attracted to their fathers, than their mothers, and that is natural. That's natural. Girls tend to have a soft spot in their father's heart than in their mother's heart. So if it doesn't happen that way, then it means that there's an issue to be dealt with. Then that will mean that you will have to know what has gone on. If in the case of the negative side, you still have to know what has gone on, and then you have to know the depth of work that you must do. For instance, here is a woman who has never received a compliment from the father, never received affirmation from the father, never been truly told by the father that she's good for something. Now you married her. The chances are that she's going to transfer her disgust for her father to you, and yes, like you said, and it's not you actually, but it's like she's doing that toward a male figure. So number one, you the man must be somebody who is on top of the situation, and you have to understand her. That's before you can help her. Then you must also understand that it will take extra effort to bring her to a point where she can even begin to respond to your compliments. Such a woman can uh, even see your compliment as something else. And it will take time for her to appreciate the fact that you are trying to give her validation and affirmation and all that through your compliment, because she never received that from her father. Maybe all she received from her father was abuse, verbal abuse, and all that. So you will have to, number one, abuse should be out of the question. Number two, you may have to keep heaping on her heavy doses of love, words, and affirmation, and all that. Maybe she had a father who was not involved, who was distant or not involved in her issues. That will mean that you have a problem to correct before you also give her what you have to give her. So either way, you have to consult the father, not sometimes directly and sometimes just by observation, for you to know the extent of what that has gone on, and what you also, the depth of what that you also have to do.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Okay. I used to ask them,
I surrender. I surrender.
you surrender, right? So I don't think we have to ask Vivi's question, because that's actually the full message of it, where the men compliment. Oh, you always still have to ask. Do we still have to ask? Vida was saying, since we are made differently, when does complimenting each other comes in?
Okay, yeah. Well, yeah. So I think that was the whole point of the message. How to complement each other is to focus on each other, and then give each other what he or she needs. By doing that, we are complementing each other, because it's like I'm giving you what you need, you're also giving me what I need, and by so doing, we are both satisfied. And so our differences will not be an issue of competition or an issue of bringing out in difficulty, but it will be for complementing each other. And for instance, when we the other aspect that I didn't quite touch on is that these are general issues, but then when you come, it was also another topic, because you also need to study that person's peculiarities, and then also adjust accordingly, because you need to know how the person, the constitution of the person. We know that all women thrive on love, but what kind of love? What, like somebody wrote a book, Five Love Languages, and he was trying to talk about different ways that people receive love and all that. So that one will be for will be a project for you and the unique person that you are getting married to. And that one too, you know that this is your husband, this is temperament, and this how he sees things. So this how I also see things as a woman. And so how am I going to be able to make sure that I meet his need, and then how is he also going to make sure that he meets my need? That one is when we settle down and focus on each other, that we know specifically how each other is made up, and then how we can contribute to each other's development.
Okay. So Daddy, this one I am going to plead with you to, if you would do us the privilege by bridging this message, this particular understanding into the temperaments of the human, that is the choleric, the sanguine, so we get a full picture of, if a person is like this, how you respond.
Yeah. So maybe we can do that next week.
Okay, we'll be glad to
because
hear.
it's very broad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very broad. So we can treat that one next week as the third part.
Okay. Okay. And I think possibly the last question, Portugal, don't kill me. I know the guys want to go home, but the last question here. So that it says you were talking about the part where you said that the woman should not usurp the authority of the man and should give him the chance to lead. My question is, what if a woman also is joined or enjoined to a young man that lacks vision?
Aye.
that that is that is where Ahab and Jezebel came in.
Exactly.
Yes, yes, and sometimes the woman may be tempted to take the man's place because the man is laid back, or the man is not, forthcoming with direction and all that. But the way it is presented, he must be forced or literally forced to lead, take position, you know. Otherwise, the woman, with the help of a father figure, can lead, under the guidance of a father figure. Let's say that you are married to a man who is very responsible. He doesn't care about anything. He's not even bothered when you try to lead. I mean, he's not even looking at that. He's not bothered at all. He's not, so you are the one doing everything and all that. You must get in touch with a father figure like your pastor and ask him to help you to lead. Because sometimes you will see that a drunkard, and uh, who cannot think straight, I mean, he cannot handle anything. Much as you try to let him lead, he doesn't want to lead, and he can't, and he will mess up things. In that peculiar situation, you must get the involvement of your spiritual father to help the children to look up to male leadership, and but never despise your husband in front of your children.
Yeah, because there are times I see that some women also have um, more qualities when it comes to leadership, and as compared to certain men who have certain men also have this. Certain men lack strong will. So when a woman that has that quality to be able to take charge,
Yeah,
like Jezebel, comes to a young man that will be crying on shoulder of his of his wife,
yeah,
then it makes the leadership question becomes very hard.
yes, yeah, and like a person like Abigail took the matter in her own hands.
Mhm.
He left to Nabal alone, the whole family would have perished.
Would have
But
perished, right?
yes, so in that case, it was an emergency. Abigail had to step in because Nabal was even drunk, and she had to step in and save the entire family. That one is allowed. That one is, I mean, you are not usurping his authority because he's not even on the throne. He's not exercising authority, you know. But if there's a way to get him to lead, then that's the best way. But if it's a crisis situation where there's nothing you can do unless you take on the reins of leadership, otherwise your family is in danger, then like Abigail, you can do it wisely to save the day.
I think that kind of leads us to the understanding you were giving us last week, that when the woman has an influence and power, it really is real. That's where, because
Yeah,
when you see the issue between Deborah and Barak,
Barak, yeah,
you see that her influence was able to lead the Israelites out of the house of
yeah.
David. Is okay. Okay. Thank you. I don't. Do you see any other question, or we are good?
I think we are good for now.
All right.
Yeah,
All
that
right.
was the only question now.
Okay.
Okay. This is a whole information.
Yeah.
And the surprising thing is, in the Bible, the women chapters were more than the men.
Right.
And even in the teaching here, the women chapters are more than the men. The men have about 4 points in my nose. The women have about 3,000. The women always get the more points. All right. So God bless everyone that was watching. I saw a couple of American friends watching, and it's interesting. I believe the relationship Thursday is a whole package. It's a whole package, and we are grateful to the God General that is sitting with us. Daddy, thank you so much. Yeah, we are very much grateful. This message needs a seesaw. This type of message needs a seesaw. All right. God bless everyone, and God willing, next Monday we will be available for Ministry Monday, and then next week we'll be back with the Relationship Thursday. The Lord bless and keep you until we meet
Amen.
again on Monday. God bless you.